I forgot to mention my kid. Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. I was talking to an immigrant the other day. He became a citizen about a year ago, but he had a child out of wedlock 2.5 years ago. This is a big, big problem because now he thinks he wants to go ahead and apply to bring that child to the United States. So, of course, what do I do when I get confronted with a situation like this? You got to look at the timeline. And it turns out that he came on a visit visa to the United States, came here, married a U.S. citizen. The case took a long time, so he ended up receiving a 10-year green card. But then before he applied for citizenship, he went back home to his home country and he got the baby mama knocked up. And she had a baby born out of wedlock for him. And when he applied for citizenship, he applied under the 3-year rule. And of course, when you apply under the 3-year rule, that means you're saying that you should get to apply early because you have a good faith marriage to a U.S. citizen, and that therefore you should be able to apply 2 years early. But he did not list the child on the N-400. And he wanted to know, Jim, what's the path forward? And I said, my man, what's the path forward? What are you talking about? You lied to USCIS. You lied on your naturalization form. You lied on the question that asked, do you have any children? And of course, the United States Supreme Court has made clear that when people lie, the standard is whether it is a material misrepresentation. In other words, is it material, important? Is it going to affect the outcome of the case? And here, let's look at the two scenarios. On the one hand, he didn't disclose the kid. So the immigration officer who was conducting his naturalization interview had no clue that he had this child back home. If the officer knew about the child, would that have changed the outcome? Well, I think the answer is clearly yes, because the officer would have said, well, in order to get citizenship under the 3-year rule, you have to show that you're living in marital union and that the marriage is valid. And the fact that he had a child with some other person when he was back home certainly cuts against the weight of the marriage, the validity of the marriage, the strength of the marriage. In fact, I told this fellow, not only did you lie on the citizenship application, and that was a reason that they would have denied you. If they had known about the child, they would have denied the N-400. At the very least, they would have said apply after 5 years. But more likely, what would have happened is they would have wondered, was this marriage to the U.S. citizen ever real? Did you have a secret relationship back home with the baby mama? And that was your real love, your real amour, your real plan for the future. And that's why you had a child with this lady, and that this marriage that you had in the United States was just one of convenience, one to design to get you your citizenship, or perhaps to even get the green card itself. So I think there's a serious chance that if this fellow went ahead and applied for the child now, that USCIS would take a look at that application and they would say, this child was born when this fellow was still married to the U.S. citizen, when this fellow was applying for citizenship. And let's look up his N-400. Ooh, he didn't list this child. Let's go ahead and deny that naturalization application. Let's go ahead and try to revoke his citizenship. Let's try to denaturalize him. And of course, with Donald Trump coming back in office, he's promising a denaturalization task force. And this is exactly the kind of case that would be ripe for denaturalization because he lied on the N-400. He lied at the interview. He did not disclose a child that he knew about. And that would have impacted the likelihood of him getting approved for citizenship. So I think there's a serious chance that if USCIS finds out about this kid, that he loses his citizenship, he loses his green card, and he gets deported. So obviously, when he was asking me, what's the path forward? The path forward is shut your mouth, don't apply for anything, and that's your punishment, is you're not going to be able to apply for that kid ever, because you lied and you shouldn't have become a citizen because you lied. So big old mess, nasty kind of a case. This is exactly the kind of case that makes it harder for other people to get an immigration benefit because they think that everybody's doing what this fellow's doing, that everybody's lying to them, and that anybody who's getting citizenship is a sneak and a fraud. So I gave this guy the heave-ho. I told him to lay low. And I think if he tries ever to try to get an immigration benefit, like they're going to forget about what he did, he's a fool. If you want to file a legitimate N-400, or if your N-400 case is stuck and you want our help getting it unstuck, give us a call 314-961-8200 or email us info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. If you're not necessarily looking to hire us as your lawyer, but you're just looking for free resources, we have a ton of them. You can follow me on TikTok at Immigration Hacking. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel where we have hundreds and hundreds of videos and where we go live 3 or 4 times a week. So you can ask me immigration questions. Just look for the Immigration Answers Show. And then finally, we have our Facebook group, which is called Immigrant Home. We'd love to have you join us there. And you can talk to other immigrants going through the same process, talking about processing times or embassy speeds, those kinds of things. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next video.